Coming up on the 16th edition of Lubbock ISD Today, we welcome back students from the holiday break with a one-of-a-kind cross-curricular day.
To teaching students skills, not only the hands-on skills or the things that they're learning in their class, but also leadership skills, employability skills. And by participating in Skills USA, students get those opportunities as well.
And did you hear we hosted a stock show at the brand new Agri-STEM complex? We get into that coming up.
Nice rings, these pins set up. It's just much more of an upgrade to what we had last year at the old barn, and I just can't wait for new ones to get set up so that we can have animals out here.
Plus, students at Evans Middle School created a CO2 cars that blasted off in a fun hands-on activity. And at Ramirez, the Rams have one-of-a-kind vending machine.
Very cool. I just was excited because it was books and it's a vending machine.
In sports, our basketball teams continue to shine, but the weather has been making people stay inside. We have all the details coming on our freezing forecast soon. All this and so much more coming up on this edition of Lubbock ISD Today. Hello and welcome. I'm Sierra Davila, a junior from Lubbock High, and welcome to the 16th episode of Lubbock ISD Today. We hope you had a joyful holiday break. It feels so good to be back. And we start off the show with the usual, that being greatest news from around our district. And it all starts here at the ATC, as we had a cross-curricular day learning about new programs and interacting with other classes. Check out some awesome footage. Every student here at the ATC participated in the Fun Learning Day. For us, we collaborated with automotive class and did a podcast. Talking all things automotive, what a fun first day back from Christmas break. I think that is something we will definitely do again. And speaking of great things that our district will do again, Lubbock ISD students experienced a bigger stock show at home before the holiday break. As we hosted the event for the first time at our new Agri-STEM complex, students have been working since last August with pigs, lambs, and goats, preparing for the past weekend to show off their hard work.
This place is wonderful. I'm so sad I have to miss the barns that are being built here, but I mean the old place, it's dark, it's small, it's stuffy. So here I feel like it's better. I can have more family come, more friends come, and I can do better.
What an awesome event. Speaking of awesome things, students at Evans Middle School blasted off. Not really, but their hard work for the past month did.
2, 1. That was a good race.
Students designed a car out of a piece of wood. Then they had to cut the wood, sand it down, and painted the car. And the Tuesday before break, it was a race day. They used CO2 cars to blast them off their favorite project of the year.
It took us a long time to create the car. So as Carlos said, we started from just a block. Then we had to make the designs. Then we had to cut it out. We had to sand it. I think the hardest part was sanding it to paint it, because you have to get it smooth enough for the teacher to grade in order to sand it. Then once you sand it, you have to spray paint it. So I think it's a pretty good experience. And I think I'm proud of myself because I got something to say that I made myself.
Mr. Haltom at Evans does a great job with hands-on learning. And recently, we were invited, and it was an opportunity we couldn't pass up. For the 2023 Area 17 Special Olympics competition at South Lanes Bowling Alley, athletes from Atkins, Coronado, Irons, and McKenzie showcased their bowling skills, embodying pure dedication. It was a celebration of unity with families and friends coming together. Kudos to Lubbock ISD for an fostering environment that recognizes and honors every athlete's commitment. And over at Ramirez Elementary, they debuted something really exciting. The Rams are the first school in our district to have a book vending machine, and we are there for their special unveiling. With the help of Harold and Eleanor Hoopman Foundation, Ramirez was able to purchase a book vending machine. The vending machine is stocked with books purchased by using rewards from Ramirez book fairs and will be used for a positive behavior reward.
Very exciting, very exciting. I love to read. I love that the kids love to read, and so it's very exciting. As far as I know, we are the only one in Lubbock ISD.
Very cool. So how does it feel to be the groundbreaking of that?
Very cool. I just was excited because it was books and it's a vending machine.
If I was an elementary student, I would be working so hard to get a book out of that. So cool. And well, coming your way after the commercial break, we have sports with Diego Molinar. Our basketball teams are shining on the hardwood. He will get into that coming up. And before we go to break, we need to talk about this weather. So let's ask James Pennington. James, is it really going to be as cold as we're hearing?
Yes, it is, Sierra. It does appear to be getting colder on here in the South Plains, but for today, it is a solid 48 degrees and will cool back down, below freezing again tonight. When the sun goes down at around 6 p.m. and coming up after the break, I will give you our complete 7-day forecast as we look forward to sub-zero after wind chill temps on the way. Stay with us.
In the 5th and 6th period second year class, we all have nicknames. Except Sierra. And believe me, we've really tried.
How about Cece?
Nope.
Or just sleepy.
How about Siesta?
That's rude. What? Sometimes it makes things a little bit awkward.
Boys and Angels?
Captain.
Abraham?
Captain.
LeBron?
Captain.
Flash?
Captain.
Trina?
Captain.
J-Dub?
Captain.
2 words?
Captain.
Sierra?
You know, hopefully someday we'll find the right nickname.
Daydreamer.
No.
This year we challenged our audio engineers to not be audio muters, but rather audio mixers. But we didn't know how much it was going to change the job.
Puppets are in. Oh, let me take go live.
Yeah. Watch out, we might have the next generation of audio engineers.
At the desk, we have Sierra Davila. Sports with Diego Molinar. And weather with James Pennington.
And tuned in with Hannah Gilchrist.
Now, let's get back to the desk and resume the 16th episode of Lubbock ISD Today.
Welcome back to Lubbock ISD Today. We hope you enjoyed the first part of the first show in 2024. And we are going to get right back into some great content. Let's send it right over to Hannah Gilchrist as she's about to tune us in the world of entertainment.
Thanks so much, Sierra. Welcome to Tuned In. I'm Hannah Gilchrist, a junior from Lubbock High, and we start this Tuned In with eyewitnesses in Florida who captured shocking video, literally, as a tornado touched down in the city of Fort Lauderdale, sending sparks flying as it wreaked havoc. Cameras were recording from multiple angles as the storm moved through a channel up a funnel of flames and smoke as it touched down. Damage to property was reported in parts of the city, but thankfully no injuries. Officials are saying this was the U.S.'s second official tornado of 2024, but with wet and wintry weather conditions forecasted for most parts of the country, there could be more wild weather on the way. Speaking of wild, police were led on a wild goose chase by a beaver that found its way into a Tennessee hospital. Video released by Bartlett PD shows the beaver was discovered under a piano inside the hospital, then setting off a brief but wily pursuit. After the cops made the crazy collar, the beaver got another wild ride in a wheeled cart officials used to safely relocate the little guy to a nearby waterway where he plopped right in and paddled right off. Finally, another animal rescue had a happy ending after police in Cleveland, Ohio had to crawl into a tight spot to rescue a kitten that was stuck in the bowels of a Circle University shuttle bus. The rescue took a couple of hours but was a success. And after the feline was freed and taken back to the station, a police dispatcher reportedly fell in love and adopted the kitten right there on the spot. Aw, Neptune, why so blue? New evidence has revealed a colorful controversy involving a pair of comparable planets. And that's not all. This is a look at the planets Uranus and Neptune looking strikingly different, as captured in 1989 by the Voyager 2 spacecraft. But a recent study by Oxford University found that those original images had actually been stretched and enhanced, resulting in a too artificially blue Neptune. Now newly processed, the images show the planet's true colors, showing that they actually look quite similar. Talk about a color correction. But that's not all. The study also used images of Uranus gathered over decades to figure out why the planet appears to change colors with the seasons. The study says as the planet spins towards and away from the sun, a combo of varying gas and cloud coverage give way to a seemingly shifting hue. Now you know. In other interstellar news, we now have the most detailed look ever at Jupiter's moon, Io, courtesy of the closest ever flyby of the spacecraft Juno. Scientists say Io is the most volcanic body in the solar system, and the new high-res images give an unprecedented look at the moon, dappled with craggy volcanic features. By the way, am I the only one who thinks Io looks like the lightsaber training orb thingy from Star Wars? I am? Oh well, that's 10 seconds we will never get back. Finally, we will leave you spaced out with a day in the life of Mars. Okay, technically it's a half day. 12 hours on the red planet, crammed into a trippy 10-second time lapse. It comes courtesy of Curiosity, the rover that's been there for more than 4,000 days. That looks just like this. And that's your look at Tuned In. We hope you have had a wonderful start to the new year. I'll send it back to Sierra at the desk.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Now, I know we teased it in the first part of the show. The weather has been a roller coaster with high winds and cold temps and even chances of rain all in one day. But will it continue? Let's send it over to our own James Pennington.
Thanks, Sarah, and welcome back into the Dirt City forecast on Lubbock ISD Today. We look at our weekend forecast. If we ignore Sunday, things on Saturday look to be a pleasant day. Temps in the mid-50s. The wind will be breezy, but overall it will be a mild day. But as you see, Sunday we get colder and fast temps will plummet into the single digits overnight, and we will only get into the mid-20s in the warmest part of the day. Make sure that you are prepared for the cold because ready or not, here it comes. And on our 7-day forecast, you can see the roller coaster weather week that we are on. Temps rising and falling all across the board. Sadly, we have hardly any chance of precipitation, but the winds and cloud coverage will be consistent throughout the week. The positive is that after Tuesday, we will see a rise in our temperatures again, reaching the low 50s by the end of the week. But a solid game plan for everyone watching at home. If you go out, bring a jacket. If you don't go out, bundle up and stay home because it will be cold. Sierra?
Oh man, temps are going to be that cold? I might not be leaving home all weekend. And still, to come up on this edition of Lubbock ISD Today, we take a pause and time out with Mr. Ward. What does he have for us this week? We just have to wait and see. But first, we head over to the sports set with Diego Molinar on gameplay. We had some athletes get recognized for their football talents, and some make sure to stay with us. We will be back right after this short break.
What you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be?
A teacher. I want to be a singer because I always sing at home and I love singing.
A police officer so I can save people's lives.
I want to be a police officer so I could go to the academy and then maybe if I pass the academy to become a police officer.
I want to be a pediatrician because they could work with little kids.
Hello and welcome into Gameplay. I'm Diego Molinar, a senior from Lubbock High. They say success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, and with success, greatness will come. And over the holiday break, the Monterey Lady Plainsmen showed their consistent hard work is paying off, as they won the biggest high school basketball tournament in the world, the Caprock Classic. In total, there were 119 teams that competed in the tournament, and the Lady Plainsmen took home the trophy for the big school category. Congrats to Coach Schneider and the Lady Plainsmen for another big accomplishment. And sticking to the hardwood, being named Miss Texas Basketball Player of the Week by Dave Campbell's magazine is a big deal because Texas is a huge state. Well, we had another standout athlete get their name on that prestigious list. as Coronado's own Cameron Hill crowned the Player of the Week for Week 8 of the season. She scored 27 points and had 4 assists against Natalia back in early January. Congrats to this awesome Lady Mustang and on this outstanding achievement. And since we are talking hoops, here are our state rankings according to the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches. The Monterey Lady Plainsmen continue to climb in the rankings as they are now ranked 8th in the state for Class 5A D1. They are 22-5 on the season and have beaten a lot of really good teams. And on the guys' side, Coach Wagner and the Matadors have been state ranked all season long, and that didn't change this week. Currently, they are 15-7 and are coming off a dominant win over a 6A school, Odessa High. Currently, the guys from the Big E are ranked 12th and are starting district play tonight. And did you hear about this? Texas Top Talent put out their list of the top linebackers for the class of 2025, and we had 2 of our own make the list. Monterey's Kyrie Baxter came in at number 32, and despite never playing a snap at linebacker, Estacado superstar Bobby Ross came in at number 9. This tells you how awesome he truly is and talented. And happening right now across Lubbock ISD, our athletic department is hosting a major soccer tournament called the Lubbock ISD 2024 Germ Blast Kickoff Classic. Currently, we have teams from all across the state competing at our schools and giving it their all. Passes for this event will be sold at the venues. This is a great time to see our teams in action.
Wow, a big tournament on such a cold weekend?
Yeah, I bet the elements will have a huge factor, and they make the games way more exciting.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Diego.
You got it.
And still to come on this edition of Lubbock ISD Today, we end the show with Mr. Ward as he calls a timeout. So stick with us. We will be right back, right here on Lubbock ISD Today.
Today we were forcing our anchors to think on the spot. Being able to ad-lib is a vital key for our anchors in case anything goes wrong. Recently, we pushed this to the extreme.
All right, anchors, we are going live.
But there's nothing on the teleprompter.
What are we supposed to do? We can't debut a new show without scripts.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to LISD Today.
Now let's toss it to the weather.
Nothing to report on weather.
Toss to sports?
Nothing on sports.
Well, that concludes our show.
Thanks for watching, I think.
They'll get better at it. Sorry, usually I'd have something clever to say, but there's nothing on the script.
Welcome back to Lubbock ISD Today. This week on Time Out with Mr. Ward, we time out to say Happy New Year. And with us being in the new year, that means competition season is here, and I am so excited. Next week, we're going to have our Local Skills USA contest as we narrow down our team that we'll take to our district contest in February. And if you go to Google and look up motivational quotes for competition, you see a ton of things about staying focused and dreaming of success. But for our students, they've been getting ready for this all year. And so they're prepared to go and compete. So the motivational quote that I want to use is, look in the mirror. That's your competition. Our students know that success doesn't come to you. You've got to go get it. And I'm excited for our Lubbock ISD TV students because they've been chasing success all year long, and I hope they get it this competition season. Now it's me, Mr. Ward, timing out for the first time in 2024. I'll send it back to our team at the desk.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ward. I look forward to everyone having fun and seeing the results coming in. Oh, and before we wrap up the show, James Pennington joins us with our final checkout on this weather. James, are we in store for some bad weather, aren't we?
Yeah, it's looking frigid to say the least, but let's dive into our 7-day forecast again. And yes, you were reading the numbers right. These are from the Weather Channel, and on Sunday, things turn colder. And by Monday, with the wind chills, we could be below 0. It will be a freezing cold day. Tuesday will warm up a bit, so be aware of the weather. Stay warm and stay safe here in the South Plains.
Wow. Bundle up this weekend, and we want to thank you so much for tuning into the 16th edition of Lubbock ISD Today. Don't forget to stay warm, and we will be back next week on Lubbock ISD Today.
This has been a production of the students and staff at Lubbock ISD TV.
Hey, welcome back to Electrician High. We got a new episode for y'all today. We're going to talk about safety and then residential and commercial and what that looks like in the electrical field. So let's get into it. All right, y'all, welcome back. We're going to get into some safety, commercial, residential today. I got my student Jaden Oliveras with me. So let's get right into it. So one of the first things I wanted to talk to y'all about, when we get into safety in the electrical field, it's extremely important. That's one of the first things that we do in this shop. Before we do any kind of work in the shop, we focus on safety. All students have to pass the safety exam. They've got to know everything about safety before working with electrical work. Now, my students aren't going to work anything live, but we simulate everything as real as possible. And then after they hook something up, I'll go ahead and energize it, test it out, make sure it works. So some of the things that we're going to kind of talk about today, Jaden's going to check these out and show y'all. He's got some leather gloves there with the rubber insulators on the underside. So that's just one of the many things an electrician will use in the field. We've got high-vis vests. A lot of high-vis vests that we'll use right there. Hey, you can kind of show us that one, Jaden.
Here.
Now, of course, working in the field on certain job sites, on a commercial job site especially, you have to have a high-vis work vest just so you could be seen. There's a lot of there's a lot of equipment out there on the job site, driving around. So this is so you could be seen pretty well. Another thing, I think y'all could recognize this. Tell us about that, Jaden.
This is a hard hat to protect your head if something falls on you, especially if you're working with other people in the job site. You don't want nothing to damage your head, so this will protect you.
100%, 100%. I like it. This is a pretty good one right here. And then what is mandatory in our shop at all times is safety glasses. So it doesn't matter what trade you're in, you know, if you're doing electrical work, concrete work, sheetrock, carpentry, plumbing, we all use safety glasses out here because, I mean, we want to protect our eyes and there's things flying around in the shop all the time. So, but something I wanted to kind of talk about in the electrical field is besides just your regular gloves that you would wear, like cut resistant gloves, we want to wear insulating gloves against electricity, which is going to be things like leather and kind of like Jaden was showing you right here, rubber on the underside. All right, so in the electrical field, we've got what we were kind of talking about here, leather gloves with the rubber insulating gloves underneath. We test these gloves before each use. We have different ratings on them for different voltages. Our license goes up to 1,000 volts. So in my class, we study everything from 0 to 1,000 volts. All right, so again, when we're talking about safety in our classroom, and we're talking about the electrical field, we talk about electric shock, arc flash, you know, electrical fires and what cause them, and exposed wires. Those are extremely important things, explaining how contact with live electrical components can result in electrical shock, you know, causing even harm or even fatality. The arc flash, talking about the sudden release of energy and how that can cause severe burns, injuries, and even the pressure wave from the arc blast. Another thing that the students will practice and work with is lockout tagout. So we got our lockout tagout right here. This is what we call that, and it's basically when we're turning off a piece of equipment and we don't want anybody else to turn it back on because we don't want it to become live and energized while we're working on it. So we have this hasp here that can go over a device, specifically something like a disconnect here where you've got the on and off type switch. So if we're going to go work on a piece of equipment, we might go turn it off, and just so we make sure that nobody can come in there and turn it on, what we'll do is we'll put this hasp over it and through it, preventing the handle from going up. Go ahead and put a lock on it and a tag. The tag is typically, you know, your name, number, company, what you're working on, the date, things like that. Go ahead and tag it, lock it, keep the key, and now you basically, nobody can turn that on, and this is kind of our lockout tagout setup. So this is super important in the electrical field. So next thing we're going to get into is talking about residential and commercial and what does that mean. You've probably got a good idea. Jaden, can you kind of tell us and kind of show us here? We've got a couple of pieces of residential and what's the difference in material? What do we usually use on a residential site in comparison to a commercial job site?
So for residential, we're going to use plastic boxes. And for commercials, we're going to use metal boxes and metal pipes, because for residential, you don't need pipes for wiring. But a commercial, you do, because it's a job site. It's a job where everybody goes to work at. So right here, we have a 4-gang, just in case if you're putting 4 plugins, receptacles and everything, you put them in here. And so 1-gang where you just put 1 receptacle in, and this is for your light. Right here we have a 4 square. This is a deep box just in case if you need to fit more wires in. And right here, we have a bracket box. This is to mount it against the wall.
That's right. And then even over here, some of the things that we'll even talk about in this class. When we get into heavier applications, we start talking about things like industrial type. This is going to be more of a rigid galvanized, so it's really heavy. We work with transformers once we get into more advanced type things for our industrial applications. And even like twist lock receptacles. You can kind of see how these twist together. So we would use that on the pieces of equipment. So we kind of learn how to work with all these types of things as well. All right, y'all. So, we're back, and since we're talking about safety, we'll get right into it. We got Gage Bremer here, and he's going to kind of talk to y'all about, he's got a GFCI with him, and it's another thing that we do in this class and talk about when we're talking about safety and safety equipment. Gage?
Okay, so the GFCI is, it looks like a normal plug, but it's like square. It's for anywhere, you'd put it anywhere near water so that if something plugged in were to get like electrocuted, it wouldn't like short out everything. It would just go to this and turn everything off. And this would be connected to all the lights and everything in there, and it would just turn everything off and make sure that it doesn't spread to the whole house and get electrocuted everywhere.
And then we've got some different types of wire. Gage, can you tell us about the wire, or where you would use these, or what they even are? Okay,
so this is copper. This is more commonly used, I would say, and it's just this is aluminum. This is lighter and less expensive, but you need more of it than you would for copper to wire something.
For sure.
And these would go inside of a conduit in a commercial area, and it would be used to what would it be used to?
Yeah, those would pretty much be power something pretty big because of the thickness of the wire there. But we've kind of got the wire insulation stripped off just so they can kind of see the difference between different types of conductors that we would use in the electrical field. And like Gage said, copper is going to be more common, but we definitely use aluminum as well. And then what is this stuff right here?
This is Romex used for residential households. It goes in all the walls in the house, and it connects to all the lights, all the switches, all the receptacles. Everywhere in the house is connected by this inside the walls and everything.
That's right. So the students, when we're doing house wiring and things like that, we're going to be using Romex out here. So you might have seen that out, on a job site, or heard somebody talking about that. So this is what's in your house everywhere, in your walls, in the bedroom, going to each plug in your room. So this is what we'll use out here. We learn how to strip this off, peel it back properly, doing it the right way, learning how to strip off the ends where we could land it on a receptacle or a switch and things like that. So, we pay attention to detail and take our time while we're learning how to do this, and so that way they're doing it right when we get out there in the field, because, it's not just, unlike a lot of jobs, when we wire something, there's life is on the line. So we take it very seriously. We want to make sure we do a good job so people are safe. All right, well, thanks again for joining us on Electrician High. We got some really cool stuff coming up. We're going to get into the tools of the trade, and we're going to start talking about receptacles, switches, what that looks like, how to wire them, and the tools to do that. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
This has been a production of the students and staff at Lubbock ISD TV.